morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning show. Stock Market TV. Spencer, Steve, JC, Alfonso. A lot going on today. We'll talk a little bit about the Dow. We'll talk about Apple, obviously. We got to talk about Apple and the AI and the Siri and the Chat GPT and the whole thing. Eli and Lilly had some news. I want to talk about that as well. We're going to have a really great guest on the show today. Scott Redler, who was last on our show about a year ago. It was last June. It's actually been almost a year, believe it or not. And we're going to have a great conversation with Scott about markets, and I suspect about life more broadly. Very much looking forward to that. That'll be at 9 o'clock. We'll have Patrick Donawilla, who is back in our hemisphere for the first time in like a week and a half. So can't wait to hear about Pat's travels to Sri Lanka. That'll be about 9:30 or so. And that's the rundown. That's what I got. Good morning, chat. How we doing? Everyone off to a good day so far? You ever wake up and you don't know what day of the week it is? Like you can't remember. It takes like a second. I had that today. I was like, is it Friday? Is it Monday? I have no idea. But no, it is Tuesday. You're here. I'm here. We're here. Let's just start the show and we'll see what happens.
All right, we are back, baby. We are back on the morning show. Looking forward to having Scott Redler on today. Scott Redler, just off of heart surgery. Was chatting with him.
Alert. Jeez.
Those of who have been following along already know. I spoke to him last week. He's in good health. He's like, dude, if this was 100 years ago, I'd be dead. I was like, all right. Well, good thing this is not 100 years ago. Scott Redler, OG, certainly an inspiration to me and many others. So looking forward to having that
no
on.
Doubt.
Celtics up 2-0, huh?
Celtics and the Florida Panthers up 2-0. I know hockey is basketball is here, hockey is here, but nonetheless,
Cubans don't know much about ice or hockey. So,
I know.
So it's 0 for 2 on that one. What do you say we hit the markets?
Yeah, we can do that. I haven't looked at futures in like almost an hour, so maybe things have changed since then. I know. It's been a minute. All right, let's see what we got going on here.
All right, we got Dow futures down 150 points this morning. Dow at 38,800, just under that. S&P futures down about 1/3% as well, down 15 handles, 53.50 on the S&P. Nasdaq futures also down about 1/3%, just around 19,000. Bond futures actually up this morning, up 1/3% there for 30 years. 10-year futures up as well. Crude oil down 1/3%, 77.5 for the crude oil. Copper down a full 1%, hanging in there around 4.5. Gold up 1/3%, 23.35 for gold. Silver down 0.75%, just under $30. With the volatility index back above 13. Checking in on the old funny money. Let's see. We've got Bitcoin down almost 4% this morning. Back under 67,000, not able to break out on this go around. Ethereum also down almost 4%, just a little bit above 3,500. Solana down 3.33%, down to 153. Binance all the way back down to 600. This sucker was trying to break out above 700, back to 600, down another 3% today. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel, back under 2.4 trillion. With the Bitcoin dominance continuing to trend higher, hanging in there above 55% for Bitcoin market cap relative to all of the market cap of all the cryptos. So patience, shout out Dawson. Patience has paid in crypto markets. I got to tell you, that's old age kicking in. That's what we call wisdom. Right, Spencer? Are you a little bit surprised at my patience in the old crypto markets?
No, because you were also patient below 30, right? What, no,
That's
was
true.
it 30?
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, at least I'm consistent, right?
Yeah. A lot of people were, not the first person into crypto, like for a trade, right? Like this go around, right? Like you
Yeah.
waited a lot because it took several times, right, to get above 30. Kind of like what's happening right now. So,
You know what we call that? Where I grew up there, Spencer, we call that
um,
resistance.
yeah, it's taken a minute, no doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
you know,
74 last
early
time.
in my career when I was younger, I'd be a little, there was more FOMO going through my head, and I didn't want to miss out on it, and that whole thing. Like, I'm too old for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
So, for you, is the bogey like where is the bogey here on Bitcoin? It's not 70. It's got to be a little bit higher than that, but also it's not an exact number, right? So,
Yeah,
um,
it's more like a few things need to happen. Like that Binance, if that Binance would have stuck the landing, that would have been step one for sure.
yeah.
Um, Binance was not able to stick the landing, completely failed miserably. So it's not just Bitcoin, but what's happening around it, right? You feel me on that? Like
Yep.
there are none of them
And
that are
that is
breaking out new
why
all-time highs. What's that?
the first email that I look at every morning is from Louis,
Yeah.
AAC Crypto Daily, and I basically just go straight to the crypto breadth, and I look at percentage of cryptos above certain moving averages, and that sort of informs my feelings on crypto for the day. You know?
And then, just think about it like this, sure, all of these are tokens that are making new 10 and 30-day highs, and we're certainly monitoring those, and we've certainly seen some action. But I am even more interested in how the tokens that were around in prior cycles are reacting to those prior cycles' highs. A lot of the names that are on this 10-day highs list, 30-day highs list, were not around in the last cycle. So, when we look at, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Binance, these are names that were all around in the prior cycle. They were darlings of the prior cycle, and we're still below those prior cycles highs, right? Dating back to 21, 22. So for me, I want to see what those guys are doing. The bellwethers, the blue chips,
Yeah.
the
I
largest ones. You can call them whatever you want, right?
yeah, they are blue chips. I think that's totally fair to say. Anyway,
The
so
irony in calling some of these tokens blue chips. Do you think that's fair, Strazza? Are they considered blue chips, or are they just the biggest ones
I
of all?
overheard some of what you guys were saying. They're blue
what's the
chips.
difference?
I called them blue chips in the note last night. Is that what you're saying? That
Like tongue in cheek, like as a joke, like funny, haha, get it, blue chips, but they're
no.
cryptocurrencies.
Crypto's an asset class, and we want there to be blue chips, so those would be them easily.
Yeah. Is it an asset class, or are they just more tech
Yes.
stocks?
No, it's definitely an asset class.
So
Look at
now
what
we're back. Now we're back to they're a separate asset.
they're more tech stocks. We treat them that way, but crypto's an asset class. Sure, we
Okay,
say
that's fair. Okay, I'll give
They're
you that. All
software
right, you
stocks,
win.
but they're
can I
No,
assets.
he wins. They're not software stocks. We decided they're not.
can I
No.
speak on breadth and crypto quickly?
Yes, please.
Uh, it's lovely, but
Please.
it's not like the stock market. We shouldn't sit there and expect half of these things to be making new highs at the same time. We shouldn't. You're going to see some nasty downside breath for the next couple of cycles. We saw it last cycle. We'll see it again, and there will be fewer and fewer cryptos each subsequent cycle. So I don't think we want to use it and weigh it in the same way that we do the stock market, just because I don't think breadth is the same concept for crypto. I think for crypto, 95% of these disappear, right? So there's going to be bad breath forever, right? So we have to figure out how to kind of use that data to really help us. The
Okay.
other problem, like you're saying, is we don't have the memory for these things yet. And that is a problem, because something that we do internally, we're not just looking at new 10-day highs, new 20-day highs, new 52-week highs. We're anchoring to certain points in the past, and we're saying what percentage of stocks are above their respective levels from the 2021 bull market high, for example. Like you said, JC, the best cryptos right now, they don't have a 2021 bull market high because they ICO'd in 2022. We can't do stuff like
Or
that yet.
23.
Right.
Or 24.
We can't do those sort of things yet that we do all day with the stock market. So I think this information gets better with time, but there are limitations. And you were probably saying breadth has been bad. It's been terrible.
Okay, I hear your point, Steve, about breadth.
No.
Wait.
What
Resolving
I'm
these things.
talking about, hold on, time out. So what I think is the question I was answering was Spencer was asking me what it's going to take for me to get as aggressive on the BTC like I was on a breakout above 31. Remember? 30, 31, that was a big level, and I was very patient. And patience has paid off very well this time around also. And my answer to what it was going to take, because Spencer was like, because there isn't an exact level. Is it 70? Is it 73? Like, for me, it's more of like, what are the other big ones doing? If Binance would have been able to stick that landing, I would say that would have been step one, a huge step one, in my opinion. It was not able to stick that landing. None of the other ones were even able to come close. So I want to see, and when we talk about breadth, it doesn't need to be what percentage of the largest 200 tokens are making new highs. I'm talking about just the ones with the memory from the last cycle. Talking about breadth as in, what are these doing? And by the way, when you add up, when you add up some of these largest tokens, I mean, they do represent a huge percentage here. I'll tell you right now. So what do we got? Total crypto market cap is 2.4, Spencer. Is that what I said? What did I say? I said, all right, it's just under 2.4. Let's call it 2.4.
Yeah, you said 2.3 something.
Anybody with a calculator want to check my math here? We got 1.3 on the BTC. We got 425, right? Look at this. Very simple calculator. 1.3 plus 0.42 plus, let's see, Binance, 0.9. Now we're looking at basically what, 60% of total crypto market cap, 60 something percent are these big ones, right? 160, 600, 1 point. Yeah, pretty much 1.8. It's more than that. 1.8 divided by 2.4, let's call it. We're talking about 75% of total crypto market cap are just these big ones that I mentioned. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, Solana.
Listen, the Binance failed breaky stood out. That was information that mattered.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. But when we talk about market breadth of all of these, don't we need to take into consideration that, people are like, oh, it's only 7 stocks. But in cryptocurrencies, it actually is only 4 tokens.
I just caught up on the chat. A couple things. We knew last week. I was saying every day this doesn't happen, I don't like it, because this isn't how Bitcoin breaks out. Bitcoin ramps up. It doesn't sit there, give you 5 days to get in and consolidating in the $1,000 range and then break out in the most orderly fashion ever. It's not going to do that, right? The sentiment was terrible last week. It was like god awful. Everybody was watching this thing, getting long this thing, waiting for a breakout. Okay. Now, finally, we have some sort of starting point that we could break out from, right? Hard shake lower, violating a multi-day range. Maybe they correct it. Maybe they bring it back, right? Then you want to say, okay, maybe it could be go time. But it always starts with a shake. JC, you know that chart where I mark up the shake before the rally in Bitcoin? You almost always get a shake first.
Bring that up, Fonz. Bring that up, and we'll come back to it after Redler.
Your sentiment is supportive. This is so much better than last week, right? When everybody was waiting for it and wanting it. Now everybody's starting to hate it. We got a shake. Maybe we could start something from here, but it looks like it's rolling over for now.
All right, let's move on to assets that actually matter to the rest of Earthlings. And that is the world's most important stock market index. Throw it up, slide 2 there, Spencer. Israel on a rolling 4-month basis, 0.0. Spencer, would you like to do the honors there, my friend? No honors.
What?
No, Mr. Blutarski, Spencer.
I mean, I mean,
I had it. I gave it to you.
I have it. Yeah. Fine. Oh shit! Did I?
0.0.
There it is. There it is. It took you long enough. It took it couldn't have taken you long.
I don't know. Sometimes you gotta let it be natural. Sometimes, you gotta
I gave it to you. It was there.
Right.
It was there. World's most important stock market index, by far and away, it's not even close. Dow Jones Industrial Average has gone absolutely nowhere since the beginning of February. How do we feel about that, Mr. Strazza?
It's fine. I don't own many Dow stocks, and I think a lot of people are that way.
You don't own many Dow stocks, and a lot of people are that way, huh? Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is
you really
this is
believe
really
that
this is
most
really
people don't
yeah.
own. Okay, let me just
This
go
one's
down the
really
list.
for the
Let me
boomers.
tell me how unimportant these are. American Express, Amazon, Apple, Caterpillar, Chevron, Coca-Cola, Walt Disney, Goldman Sachs, Home Depot, IBM, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, McDonald's, Microsoft, Nike, Procter & Gamble, United Health, Visa. Nobody owns any of these stocks, huh?
I got 4 from that list.
Nobody owns any of these
I got
stocks?
4 from that list.
All right.
Yeah, there are a couple that are
I'm
bringing up the rear.
pretty sure a lot of people own these stocks. In fact,
Maybe. Yeah.
of
Here's-
all the indexes,
Okay.
you'd be hard pressed to find an index that people own more stocks in, actually.
Well, proportionately, but I mean, there's a
Um,
denominator fallacy there. But here's the point I'm trying to
Only-
make. My long-term account returns don't look like the Dow, and most people's don't. They look like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ because we try and own what? The leaders, which unfortunately, lately, have not been from the Dow or the Russell 2000. They've been from the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500.
How about the throw up the slide 4 there, first of all, just to gives people some perspective, because I know a lot of times when I say that the Dow's most important stock market index on the planet, I get people that are like, well, JC, it's price weighted and that's stupid. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but there's only 30 stocks, JC, and that's stupid. Maybe.
I don't have a problem.
But the S&P 500 might be market cap weighted. It might have 500 companies, but they trade together. No?
Yeah, maybe. Listen, if I constructed my portfolio 40 years ago and then went and like buried my head in the sand and woke up today, it would probably look a lot like the Dow. But, the world kept churning and time moved forward and we had tech stocks pop up and some people bought those instead. There's one decent semiconductor stock. Actually, there's none. Let's say none. There's not even a good semiconductor stock in this entire index.
I'm aware.
How many great semiconductor stocks have we gotten long the past 2 cycles? Like
more than I can count, and a lot of them aren't even American.
Yet none of them in the Dow.
That's right.
How about software? Outside of Microsoft, is there even a good software stock in the Dow? I mean, Microsoft's not even a software stock anymore. Like, it's not the representation that it should be. They've done a really bad job. I get everything you're saying, and I don't disagree with your takes. But this is just a second-rate index at this point.
Wow. And your recency bias is not impacting that opinion at all.
It's not recency bias. We do this every time that they make additions and subtractions. We track how they did.
So throughout the 2000s, when you were going to your 7th grade prom,
yeah,
how was it the fact that the Dow Jones Industrial Average was shitty then, or was it the fact that the Dow Jones Industrial Average wasn't loaded up with tech stocks, and tech stocks were an underperformer that decade? And in the last decade, tech stocks have been an outperformer, and any index that's underweight technology is not going to look as good. Does that not have anything to do with it?
I know we could say, hey, we look at the charts. We don't have to use our brains. But to try and make the bet over long time frames that energy is going to be an outperformer and not tech.
But what does energy have to do with it?
You're talking about the Dow being good because it had energy 20 years ago.
No,
I
didn't.
You don't want
it wasn't energy. It never really didn't have much energy. It was probably more financials, industrials, healthcare. It was just not tech, but it definitely wasn't energy.
It had the 2 largest energy companies in the world back then.
And it still didn't matter. It was the other stuff. It was financials. Financials were ripping, dude.
Okay. It had far more energy than the S&P 500 back then. I don't even need to check.
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right at all. It was either the same or slightly different. So no, I don't think that's right at all.
I'll go back.
It was really just a lack of tech is really the big feature. So I think it was more financials, more industrials. It's
You
more other
didn't
things.
want tech stocks back then,
What?
in that cycle. Tech stocks were terrible.
Yes, they were. Utilities were an outperformer then, just to
Cool.
give some perspective on that particular cycle. That was my first bull market.
So I just want to
actually.
say, and everybody in the chat, because I know that a lot of people invest for the long run here, tech stocks are likely to be long-term outperformers. Oil and gas stocks, as much as I like them right now, are likely to be long-term underperformers. So
Something else I want to add, that when you go back and you study every bull market over the last 100 years, because we've had bull markets in the past, right? It's not just this time.
Mhm.
What you'll notice is that technology is an outperformer and a leader in pretty much all of them, right? So technology outperforming in a bull market is a feature that's perfectly normal. We see it. I think it's got a 90-something% hit rate where every bull market technology is an outperformer, pretty much all of them. So what Strazza is saying is just characteristic of strong markets. You're going to get technology doing well, right?
Technology is a secular leader.
During bull markets, right?
No,
Can
all
we throw up slide 3, because this is a weekly candlestick chart of the S&P 500 making new all-time highs last week. New all-time highs for the S&P, NASDAQ Composite, and NASDAQ 100 last week. You know how many stocks on the New York Stock Exchange were able to make a new 52-week high? 33. 33 stocks on the entire New York Stock Exchange. 33. With new all-time highs for the S&P, NASDAQ Composite. That's less than 1.4% of all of the stocks in the New York Stock Exchange were able to make a new high. So, Strazza, do you think that the market indexes need to maybe correct, or do you think that there's going to be a group that's going to drive that new highs list higher? Are you focused on just individual stocks and you don't give a damn about the indexes? Like, how do you think about all this?
Yeah, I don't think too hard about the indexes. We don't buy the indexes, nor do we really cover buying the indexes, right?
Yeah. The way I learned it is that if you trade the averages, you get average returns.
Yeah.
Shout out Joe Fahmy.
What do I know about the indexes? Like, the kind of things I'll say to people is the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 is the best momentum strategy in the history of markets. So if you're a passive investor and you're looking for a fund, these are good options. Russell 2000 is the inverse of that. Gives you the opposite, right? So stuff like that, I think, are important to know about the indexes and the way that these funds are constructed, right?
Throw up on slide 5, Spencer.
Or are they
Throw up
buying
slide 5, and then I want to talk
learned?
about some of these tech indexes.
You know what I just learned?
What?
As you guys were talking, I was looking it up. There is only one ETF that tracks the Dow Jones. Only one.
DIA.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the diamonds.
There's
All right, so here we're looking at the S&P 1500, and this is as of the end of last week, showing the percentage of stocks making new highs on various time horizons, right? Going through all the sectors. And just very quickly, you don't even need to take that long looking at this. You know what you'll find is that there aren't any stocks making new highs on any time frame. It could be the new 52-week highs list. It could be the 6-month highs list, 3-month highs list, 1-month highs list, 2-week highs list. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I present you with this one, and this is slide 6.
Yeah, this is based on a single day, though. Why don't we look at the weekly?
Well, this was as of the end of the week.
No, but it's not showing you how many stocks made new highs that week, right? It's showing you how many
because
stocks
there weren't any. Why don't you go to this one? This is a good chart from Strazza. Go to the this one. So this is a great question, because in bull markets, which the 2-year anniversary of that bull market is on Sunday. So we're 2 years into this bull market. So
it's crazy.
Is it? Time flies.
It's been 2 yeah, time flies when you're having fun, really.
True. In bull markets, do you want to bet on major tops completing in technology? Remember what we just said. Technology is a leader in bull markets almost every single time. Do we want to bet on these massive tops completing in the middle of a bull market? Well, we don't know if we're in the middle, but during a bull market is probably a better way to say it. During a bull market, or are we just at support within an ongoing bull market? That's the question.
I'll bet on these patterns failing all day in bull markets. In fact,
So you buy this dip.
that's absolutely right. These charts give you great entries. When these tops fail, you get some of the best entries you'll get in a bull market.
Yeah. And then what? If we break all that support, all bets are off?
Yeah, you keep it really tight, right?
What about when you zoom out and you're more of like an asset allocator, asset allocator, and not like looking for a tactical trade? You know, from an asset allocation standpoint, how do you look at that? The exact same way? You can't, right?
I think asset allocators have longer time frames. They're probably looking out more like 12 months at a time.
Yeah.
Probably less concerned with these short-term tops. I think this would be a good entry point for a longer-term allocator.
I would agree.
I think people who are looking out quarters to years, I mean, again, been saying it since last year, don't throw out your tech stocks. Right? These guys will be back. Like you said, JC, we see it every bull market. We see it every bear market too. Large cap
The
tech.
internet index, FDN, above a rising 200-day moving average. The cybersecurity ETF, IHAC, above a rising 200-day moving average. Even software, above a rising 200-day moving average. I mean, it's hard to argue that these are not in longer-term uptrends, despite the corrective action you've seen this year.
Every one of these groups, internet can't really say that about because it wasn't a group going back this far, but go back 20 years. 2002, 3, 4. They have been rising steadily through both bull and bear markets relative to the broader market. The relative trends have been consistently moving higher for more than 20 years in all of these groups. And that's also true for tech at the sector level. Right. So don't throw out your tech stocks.
Okay. So now you're looking at cyber, internet, software, all at potential support. Do we want to buy the stocks that look like these indexes, or do we want to buy the leaders that don't look like these and are pushing up near highs?
So that's a great question. Basically, you're asking, do you want to buy the laggards or the leaders? I think you do both, right? They offer different things. Sometimes you could catch a laggard at the right time. It's about
because the laggard is going to give you a better risk versus reward. The leader is going to give you a higher probability of success.
And I think you want both of those setups in your trading portfolio. I really do. Right. It'll diversify you in a way. Here's the thing about buying all of the same charts. A lot of times they'll do the same thing. Right. If I have an account and I'm going to build it out with 10 positions and I buy charts that are retesting their prior cycle highs for all 10 positions. Right. Maybe we get a big splash lower and they all break at the same time. You get what I'm saying? I want to buy different chart patterns. I want to buy one coming out of a base. I want to buy one retesting a prior cycle high. I want to buy one that's climbing its base and then a high and tight flag, right? I want to diversify my chart patterns. Does that make sense? If I buy a bunch of charts that look the same, there might be a reason why they look the same. They might be peers, right? And then they all break down together. I don't want that.
You see the snow continuing to decline. I mean, there's some pretty shitty software stocks. Is Snow cyber or software?
Software. We just had a monster insider purchase. We're putting Snow on our special list, our new special list, and we'll be monitoring.
What a piece of shit this thing is.
This is what they tend to look like when they get the spicy buys.
Ooh, the spicy buys. Shout out, Mary.
10 million. Ooh.
Can you throw up the Apple chart, please? Because this is a big one. Here's slide 7. This is a big one. Is Apple the largest company in the world again? It's pretty close, right?
Nah, it's third, dude. and it's really taking some getting used to for me because
Hold on, wait, is it?
I flipped through my equities based on market cap, and it's been Microsoft, Apple for a long time. Microsoft, Apple, and now I got
Wow, Apple is number
in the middle.
3. Wow.
Yeah, that happened last week. So now
Wow,
I flip through every
Nvidia,
morning.
number
Apple
2.
Apple is no longer the second stock that I look at, and it's like I kind of miss it in that spot. But
Nerd alert.
markets are dynamic.
So all right, so let's see. Let's just go down that list quickly. We're looking at Microsoft at 3.17 trillion. Nvidia just a nose hair shy of 3 trillion here at 2.987. Apple 2.96, just under 3 trillion as well. And then you got to go all the way down to under 2.2 trillion for Google. Just under 2 trillion for Amazon here at 1.94. You got the Meta at 1.26, and good old Uncle Warren hanging in just under 900 billion.
So
Taiwan Semi, the largest non-American, right?
speaking of Uncle Warren, I have a confession to make. I watched pretty much all of the WWDC event,
Oh,
the Apple part, and I don't know half of what they're talking about. Am I just like not?
Why
using
would
these
you though? You
tools?
don't know anything about that stuff.
There is stuff going on my device that I had no clue about. That's pretty cool. I feel like everybody should watch these every now and then just to know what your phone can do. Because I'm sitting there like, what? I could do this. I could, it's all this cool stuff. And also already 4 months since the launch of the Vision Pro, they're already launching a new operating system. I think that's great.
yeah. Yesterday, I learned, oh crap, I'm gonna have to buy a new iPhone if I want to get any of this AI goodness, right?
Okay.
Um,
Spencer, thank you for proving my point. Have I not been pounding the table on the upgrade cycle?
yeah, they're gonna make me. I mean, they're gonna make me, right? So,
And you told me at first you weren't going to get a new one.
yeah, I know. If I want any of this stuff, I need. If I want Chat GPT in with my Siri, and I want, Apple's password app and all the other things they announced yesterday, I'm gonna have to get an iPhone 15.
You know,
Do
you
you
want
So,
to know what happened to me this weekend? Can I just tell
Do
you?
you
I got
history to it?
abused.
hold on.
So I got abused this weekend because my buddy, one of my college buddies, he's like never had an iPhone. He's always been one of these like Google people. What's the
I don't
Google one
understand.
called?
I don't trust those people. Like 10 years ago, it was okay. Now it's just downright sketchy. I don't trust those people at all.
He's been one of those forever, right? So he's like, oh, I was like, oh, anybody got a charger or something like that? And he's like, oh, I got one. I was like, no. We're talking about iPhones. We're talking about real people phones, not this crap that you have. And this dude comes out with the new iPhone and a new charger that I can't use because I haven't upgraded my phone. So he totally flipped the script on me, and I was the asshole.
Oh, that's funny, dude. That's really good. All right.
Totally got abused. I'm like ripping into him, like laying into him about how he can't keep up with the rest of us and da-da-da-da. And as it turns out, I was the one who couldn't keep up.
It's obnoxious, right? And I feel like, come on, Apple, but can you imagine, because they have such a huge customer base that just by changing a charger, it can drive numbers, right? Like that, it's insane, but that's the game that they're really playing, right? This is kind of, it's petty. It's like the Netflix, like locking down on password sharing, right? It's like, really, you're gonna make us buy new chargers? In my house now, we have an iPad. It's got like some thick charger. One iPhone uses one charger. The other iPhone uses a different charger. My headphones, I never know how I can even charge the pods. There's just so much going on, but maybe I'll just watch more of these events to learn more about what's going on at Apple.
I have a question. I have a moral, philosophical business question for you, Strazza, that I want to bring up here while we I know Red Dog is coming in a second. Can you throw up slide 2, please, Spencer?
Yeah.
Throw this up for a second. I got a question. And I don't know the answer, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts, and I want the chat to chime in. So here's GoDaddy making new all-time highs. Shout out GoDaddy. Yes, that GoDaddy. Now, did you say it was added to the S&P 500? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So $20 billion market capitalization. Nice little double since the fall. No big deal. No big deal. So here's my question. So my understanding from talking to several people is that they will go to GoDaddy.com and they will search for a website, and it'll be available. And then they'll come back a couple of days later, and it won't be available, and GoDaddy will own it. And then GoDaddy will try to sell it back to that particular person.
Oh, so they're basically watching you, seeing if you're interested in something, sniping it, and then upselling you.
That's right. That's right. So
That's
kind of
fantastic.
like a derivatives market, for example, sees that
All
in
right.
the options market when you're entering orders and things like that. Hold on. Let me finish. So this is a publicly traded company.
Yeah, it's
Whose
violated.
sole responsibility is to increase shareholder value. And by doing this, they're able to make more money theoretically.
Yeah,
Now,
can't
they
do
don't
that.
have a monopoly. You can transfer all your URLs to, your domains to a different site. I know most people use GoDaddy. I know I certainly do.
Yeah.
Is there something morally wrong with GoDaddy doing that? Is there something fucked up about that? Or is
First
that
of all,
is that just good business practice?
No,
What do you
come
think?
on. You got to draw the line somewhere with this.
I'm
Right.
asking. I'm asking.
First of all, it's fraud, right? So if they're not being honest
How is
about
that
it,
fraud? Tell me why it's fraud.
they're front running people, right? So they're stealing data, right?
They're
That
not stealing data. They are
How do
people
they
are
know that somebody
voluntarily.
wants to
Hold
buy
on.
something?
People are voluntarily going to their website that they own
Right.
and entering information. Nobody's stealing anything.
JC, how do you not realize that this is fraud? How do you not really?
I don't know if the law agrees with that take,
Yeah, I don't
JC.
know if it's fraud.
Yes,
Is it fucked up? It could be fucked up, but I don't think it's fraud. It's definitely not fraud.
We have like consumer acts and all these different like consumer laws, right? And like the Uniform Commercial Code. It violates something.
I don't
Consumers
think
are
it
very.
does.
Did you take business law? Consumers are very protected in
Yeah,
America.
20 years ago. I just had my reunion. You know this.
No, you can't like prey on consumers like that and fool people. Even if there's something in the fine print, that's not okay.
Are you first of all, who are you fooling?
First of all, this is all hearsay, right? I think
All right.
you don't know that this is even happening. So
I've heard it from multiple sources.
Can I bring on Red Dog, please?
probably a matter of time before they get in trouble.
First of all, I'm not an expert. I just wanted to throw this out there. I think it's an interesting question. I just wanted to throw it out there. I just thought it was an interesting situation. That's all. No big deal.
All right.
Another person.
I don't have a horse in the race. I don't have a vote. It's just what happens.
So what James said, if another person was trying to do it, first of all, it sounds like a waste of time, but that would be fine, right? But the exchange itself, the intermediary can't be front running it. No.
I guess I don't know. Just a question. Let's go. Bring on the Red Dog.
All right.
Yo,
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Scott Redler in the house. What's up, my man?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing? Nice little debate I was listening to in the blue room or the green room, whatever you call it, as I waited for you guys to get me on here. Sorry, I'm on the iPhone. We had a little technical difficulties going through the mainframe.
No big deal, Red Dog. Good to see you, my man.
Yeah, listen, every day above ground's a good day, right, JC?
That's it. Why don't we start there? Redler, you've always been a sweetheart of a guy, very grateful for all of the things that you have and have been able to accomplish and what you get to do every day. And I think it starts there with gratitude. You want to maybe share a little bit with the audience about your recent experiences and maybe what's been going through your head and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
All right. Well, I know I look really young, but I'm not. I'm 51 years old. Kidding.
You look good, bro. You look good.
51, not so bad, right? About, 9 days ago, I had tubes coming out of my neck, tubes coming out of my side, tubes coming out of my groin, and you don't want to know where that last tube was. So it's been about 10 days since heart surgery. So, little things happen at times that you have to deal with. So real quickly, I had mitral valve repair, which is a routine surgery, but it's definitely something a bit complicated where they have to go through your side. They have to fix your valve. To make a long story short, your heart has blood flow like this. And if one of your valves isn't closing correctly, blood flows through the back door and then stays in one area, which is my left ventricle. And at that point, if it has to work to push it out so it gets bigger. And P.S., if it goes undetected for a year or two, you just die. Thank God it's 2024 because about 200 years ago, they didn't have modern technology. They couldn't see that you had a valve not working. All of a sudden, all you do is get tired, you get lethargic, and then you have some kind of event. So a lot of gratitude that at 51, I caught this. So I would say make sure you get your physicals year by year because things change in your body. And thank goodness, I'm on the other side of it, dealt with. And every day I've been getting stronger, feeling better, and moving on to the next phase. Every phase in life we live and learn. And this was, another one. So happy to be back in my seat, happy to be trading, happy to have, made a lot of decisions prior to today to make sure my mind was at ease when, I went under on May 30th. So for you guys who are a lot younger, JC, how old are you?
42.
All right, you're 42. You've been around the block quite a few times. Okay. At this point, every stage in life, you have to prepare. I always see you talk about, the S&P versus this sector, this versus that sector, how to outperform the markets. Not everyone could do all those things, but what you could do is, put money away every single month. So at some point when you retire, you have a huge nest egg. Put money away for kids with a 529. So every single month, perhaps you don't have to wait for a bailout. You can actually pay for your kids' college, and use the market that way. And then if you, trade for a living, which is what I do also, that's a whole nother approach. But there's another thing you should do out there. I don't sell it, but, at age 35, I had whole life insurance, which I've been putting money away every single month since 35, sacrificing, and also paying for disability. So when I did go under the knife, God forbid I was the 1 to 4% and didn't make it, my wife, and son would have been fine. And if I did come out of it and I was able to not trade because my heart couldn't take it, I'd be okay. So what you want to do is every level in life, 25, 42, 50, prepare for the future by sacrificing, a little bit day by day. So this way, when some things happen, you're more prepared than wishing you were.
Can you talk a little bit about, what you did with your accounts, going in for a surgery like that, to get your mind right? Like very, very curious on how you prepare, the trading accounts and stuff like that. Like, do you go out of cash? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, I did have some options on. If you remember, May 30th was right around, right after NVIDIA earnings. So what I did is just like I actually treated my surgery like a binary event. I wanted to risk what I could risk and not be upset about missing a few things. And obviously I wasn't so upset about missing a few things. So I had more options on than stock in my swing account. I was definitely very light. There was no reason to, be overstressed, and I probably should have nothing on. But just like if you're going away on vacation for 10 days, typically they say don't take any position in your swing account or active account, your options account. But I've learned through time that, granted, I like to take vacations and have a free mind. But sometimes you're on vacation, you see setups trigger and you're not there to take advantage of it. You're more stressed not being in it than in it. So I did have a few different option strategies on just to be involved. And then I did glance once or twice, from the hospital bed. As when I did have surgery on Thursday, Friday morning, I probably slept, 20 minutes that night. And at that point, I was still in some NVIDIA options, and I had a few moments to make a decision whether I wanted to get rid of them. When it was at 11:25, and it was a good decision. But anyway, you try and do a little less when you're going in for open heart surgery, the same way you do a little less when you're going on vacation. But if you had to take time frame, you could use options going 1 or 2 weeks out.
You hear
so
that,
you're
folks?
involved.
You hear that, folks? You want to do a little less in your trading account when you're going in for open heart surgery. Spoken a little less, spoken like a true trader. By the way, I don't hate on the fact that you were like checking in on the markets and stuff like that, because there's a certain element of you generally liking to do that, right? Like you enjoy checking the market. Like it's not like what's happening is going to have this major impact on your life or anything like that, but this is something that you do. This is something that you've done for a long time. And whether you're on vacation or, open heart surgery or out of commission in whatever capacity, when I'm on vacation, I check the futures. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I generally enjoy it. Why wouldn't I? Right?
Listen, we like to make good choices. We like to figure out what choices we would have made in certain circumstances. And you always want to have like some kind of pulse, right? As traders, we're the pulse of the market. That's why I say sometimes when people, say, oh, you can't make money over the summer because it's the summer. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. You're in the mountains, you're on the beaches, you're not on the pulse of the market. You don't know what's in play, what's leading, where the divergences are. So if you're going to be in the mountains and on the beach, stay there. If you're going to be in your seat over the summer, you can make money trading because we're on the pulse of it. So depending on how active you are, you got to be on the pulse. And you and I have been doing this a long time. It's in our blood. This is what we do. We've made a ton of mistakes. We've done a lot of things well, and we keep evolving with the different type of tape we're in. So, for us to take a little glance at the market and pass time away, we do enjoy it. I have a friend, who's 82 years old. He's $100 million 10 times over, and every day I'm still on the phone with him every morning talking about, credit and where the futures are and this and that, and it keeps his mind going because that is what he does. This is what we do, and you have to figure out how you do it, what you do, and then also what you need to do, to blow off some steam, because otherwise, he can get a little bit overcooked.
No question. I say it all the time. I don't care how rich and successful I get. Like, I'm still gonna wake up and just check the futures. Like, that's just what I'm gonna do. I'm just curious, right?
If I won the lottery tomorrow, I still would trade the stock market.
Yes.
I just would use a different size. I just would approach it differently, and I would, and I would do a different, I'd have a different tier system.
Yeah, your risk tolerance might be a little different. We'll see what more commas and zeros on some of those positions. Liquidity is going to start becoming an issue now in some of these positions, right?
Yeah.
Good problems. Good problems, Red Dog. So you talk about the market environment and, the tape and all that, and being the pulse of the market. What type of market environment you think we're in right now here in mid-June?
I don't think that much has changed. I feel like there are less things working. Yes, so I get it. The market's a bit more narrow. You can't, buy one stock because a different stock's working. You have to be in the stock that's working. You're still getting some names making higher lows and higher highs that you could have for swings. The semis are still strong. I looked for post-situation discovery to see actively how I could approach it, right? NVIDIA just had a post-split move. So now yesterday's low of 117 is now your post-split market discovery, where if you wanted to have a swing trade on and see if NVIDIA is still special the way it was special pre-split, that's your spot. Apple, for instance, everybody's debating about what Apple will we have post WWDC. Well, you know what? They sold the news yesterday. The question is, how high do we hold based on where we just came from post earnings, right? We had a post earnings discovery where we had
Hold
a nice
on,
gap
let me
up.
stop you there. When it comes to this WDCC thing, right? Do you look at it as just a potential event, a potential catalyst, like a risk event? Do you actually look into what is being said? Like, how do you think about an event like this? Or maybe like the NVIDIA one where they do the whole dog and pony, like some of these companies have that sort of stuff. Like, how do you think about it?
Well, you want to see the reaction to it. It gives the market a chance to reevaluate their thinking based on the binary event. Everybody knows that historically speaking, they try and sell the Apple event, right? So yesterday I listened to it also. I listened to the entire event yesterday.
Did you really?
I did. I was just sitting in my chair at 1:00 just because, again, I'm not moving around that much. And
did you also watch the Roaring Kitty live stream or no?
I did not. I was doing my post-surgery video. I was in competition to the Roaring Kitty.
So you're picking and choosing which live stream. You're not just like a live stream junkie.
No way. I knew it was going to happen. I knew where the stock came from, but you're not going to make a living listening to the live kitty. I'd rather listen to you. I'd rather listen to me. I'd rather listen to those who have made money in the market historically. We don't treat the stock market like a casino. We use it as a strategic way to make wealth over time, put kids in college, and then make a living. We don't, granted, there are trades there. Listen, when there's high volume and you see, calls going off and there's an event, we as technicians could take advantage of the price movement based on the charts, but that's not how you make a living. It's just a small little feature based on a moment in time. But I happen to do my video at the same time. Be like, oh, you're competing with the Roaring Kitty. I'm like, I'm the Red Dog. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, it is what it is.
You tell them. You tell them, Red Dog. You tell them. Come on. So my favorite Redlerism, and there's a few Redlerisms out there over the years, but one of my favorites is the old Red Dog reversal, which is, I suppose a variation of, what Brian Shannon was saying last week on from failed moves come fast moves in the opposite direction. Very similar. I think the Red Dog reversal is a little bit more maybe a little bit more precise in its detail on how to actually execute on something like that, but it's a very similar philosophy. Can you share with the folks who might not be familiar with the old red dog reversal on exactly what that looks like and how to actually execute and profit from a situation like that?
At 9:22, 7 minutes before the markets can open, I could talk about this for a whole weekend. Basically, like you just said, it's a bottom tail, it's a topping tail, it's a rubber match spot to see who's going to win active control. If you're up 3 days in a row, in order to be up 4 days in a row, you have to get above and stay above the third day high. Sometimes it pushes above it, shorts get squeezed, and then all of a sudden it comes back below it. You could short verse that high for a small reversal trade for cash flow. Sometimes it's an inflection point. I like it typically better when it's a bottom type tail. I like when it could be an inflection point to start a new move. When you're down for multiple days, multiple months, then all of a sudden you get a washout move where it gives you a point of a reference, reclaims a prior area. So if you're down 4 days in a row, you have to be down 5 days to stay below that prior low. Identifying that prior low, whether you have the fight between the active longs and shorts, is the key. So then you can see who wins that battle, and then you just jump on the winning side. And it's quantified so you could know your risk.
So hold on. Some people out there might be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Just to be clear, it's taking me 20 something years to be able to understand everything he just said, right? So if you missed a few things there, don't worry. Like, I know that was a lot. Like, I understood what he said, but it's taken me a long time to really understand what the hell he just talked about. So this is going to be archived, recorded. You could put it on slow-mo, listen to it again. I know the Red Dog's got material that you put out over the years explaining this sort of thing. It's a great concept. It's a great trade, by the way. I absolutely love it. But I do have a question. All that stuff that you're talking about is pure price, and I love you for that, right? Is there any supplemental data, whether it be volume or maybe a momentum divergence, or I mean anything really? Is there like a moving average crossover? Because I know you're into some of that stuff as well. Is there anything else that you look for that adds up to that adds to that, other than just the price action?
Yeah, you could add a lot of different analytics to it. That might give you more. Well, I like to maybe more line up when a red dog reversal happens on like a daily, weekly, and monthly together. Because that gives you really an inflection point. Sometimes it's just a quick little cash flow trade, in the morning or in the afternoon. Sometimes it's an inflection point for the next 12 to 8 weeks, or 12 weeks or 24 weeks, and then I do have my alpha team that, some of them focus on other analytics. Like you said, like maybe it's a moving average crossover, maybe it's a MACD divergence alongside a red dog reversal where all of a sudden the MACD is turning up, but you're going down on low volume, and then you look for that last, pivot point where it gets reclaimed in the MACD, and then it helps with conviction. Everything can help you conviction. Everyone has different ways to measure their conviction. I'm a cocktail napkin technician. I don't need that many things to confirm what I'm thinking. It's more of a feel. I've been doing this since 1997. Some people wait for too many confirmations and they never put the trade on, or they put it on late. But the more prepared you are, the better it is for you to have a conviction to make real money in a situation if it's more than just a tactical cash flow move.
Are you trading these red dog reversals on any other time horizon, like on an intraday? Like when you're talking about 3 days and the fourth day, do you do that sort of thing with like maybe hours or 30-minute time frames or anything like that?
Yeah, I typically set them up on a daily. Every day I go through hundreds of charts, and I probably chart out 40 of them. So I think the more powerful red dog reversal is on the daily chart. And then I also have a 3, 5, 15-minute chart up when I'm managing trades intraday. And you can kind of see when a stock's up $4 by 11:30, and then you get a little red dog reversal on a 5-minute candle and tells you it's going to go into that lunch slumber. So I do use it, for my tiering system intraday, but really the more powerful move is on the daily charts. But candlesticks are candlesticks, and time frame is time frame. You could use it on any time frame. You really can.
Candlesticks are candlesticks. I want a final trade out of you. But before we ask you your final trade, are you trading cryptos at all? Are you trading other than maybe a BTC ETF, like actual on chain? Are you trading any of this stuff?
I haven't been lately. I was very involved like a bunch of years ago in a lot of the altcoins and did pretty well. And I too, in 2021, I held a third of a lot of my altcoins thinking that, hey, I just sold into strength. I didn't know they can go down 95% in my mush. So I kind of got away from the altcoins, and I said, you know what? I'm going to accumulate Bitcoin for the future. I'm going to trade Bitcoin itself, but I'm too busy with everything else out there in my life to be trading altcoins. I'd rather just rest over the weekend and, catch a trade in IBIT of that. And I've been trying to play this move for it to break above 71 to 73,000. We failed multiple times. And
you and everybody else, Redler.
I've lost a bunch of money in the last 6 weeks. And I will say that BITO, which was supposed to be an ETF that correlates to Bitcoin, was absolutely horrendous. I was playing options in it, thinking it correlates to price. I knew there were dividends, but it's kind of like the UNG ETF or the USO ETF. They're built to be bullshit, to be honest. So be careful in the ETFs that you trade if you think they correlate. BIT does not.
That's great advice there.
Scott, I know you have to run.
Trade. What do you like? What?
Right now, I'm long some NVIDIA. I added this morning. I'm long some Microsoft. I added this morning. I'm long some Meta. I added this morning. I think Amazon's acting better. We just got to be a little bit careful with the Fed tomorrow. But ultimately, last week, some of the mega caps started acting well. So I'm starting to try to stay with those active sequences for now. I got rid of my Lilly a day or two early. It's been an unbelievable move. And, like you said, I just had open heart surgery, so I had a little less on. And now I'm trying to figure out if there's another swing trade here or I just want to be a little bit more tactical. But it's 9:28 right now. And, it's time to get moving.
Yep.
Thanks
a lot,
Spencer,
Scott,
drop
man.
in the chat where everybody could reach Scott. Great follow.
I will. See you,
Red Dog
Scott.
T3. Let's do this again in the future. And sorry, I was a little late. You know me, I'm an old dog. I'm not great with technology.
Don't worry about it. You're a red dog and an old dog.
Okay.
Drinks in the city soon. Are you allowed to drink after the surgery? I don't even know how it works. I've never had open heart surgery. Do you know, Spencer?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to have a couple cocktails or not? Probably
I
not.
probably wouldn't push it. I probably wouldn't push it if I had open
No
heart
tequila
surgery.
shots with the red dog next week? Probably not.
No, but if you recall last time he was on, he did that green juice shot, whatever the hell that was. Remember that?
Dude, Redler's such a health nut, dude. I remember we were on what show was this? This was some show on CNBC back in the day, like a zillion years ago. And he comes in like running late, like we're about to go live, and he's like, sorry, I was in my spin class. So we're just all ripping Redler because he was in his spin class. This is like a zillion years ago. It's hilarious.
No, I believe that. When I saw that he was going in for heart surgery, and I was like, oh shit, he's like one of the healthiest guys that I know.
He's
He's
like, dude, this guy's way healthier than I am.
He's way healthier than I am. Exactly. Oh shoot, this what does this mean for me? Right. Forget him. No, in all
that was
seriousness,
one of the things he was telling me, because obviously he's in good shape. He doesn't look 51. And he was telling me that, he didn't really have any symptoms because he was in good health otherwise. So it kind of hid, some of what was happening underneath the surface, if you will. Because he was overcompensating, being in good shape. So if he wasn't getting checked out, it would have never been caught.
That's right.
So we have a Fed tomorrow.
So we're glad Scott's better.
Who's
we? Have a Fed tomorrow?
We do have a Fed tomorrow.
Don't we have a Fed every day since like 1930 something?
No, it's been a quiet period for them. So no Fed talk.
Thank God. Isn't it so much better when they just shut the fuck up?
Yeah. It should be a quiet period forever.
It should be, It should just be quiet.
Oh God, Bra's up. What's up, Bra? Listen, are we going to talk more about the Apple event? I got some news events, Spencer.
I thought we were going to talk about the Lily.
I want to talk about the Lily.
Either or.
All right, go for it.
Can we get a person on here?
Strazza spotlight.
Adam Forstein to talk about the Lily.
I don't know.
It's a biotech.
I don't know if I know who that is.
Like Brad. Like how about Brad?
Adam Feuerstein?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a biotech.
Yeah, I can reach out to Adam Feuerstein or Brad Longcar. Sure. Can
we get somebody on here who specializes in medicine and bios to come and talk to us about what's going on here? Because this is, I have questions. I have so many questions.
That's a good call, Strazza. You're right. Good call.
So three people's brains exploded, but this is still a wonder drug and it's curing Alzheimer's. So
this is a slide 2. Throw up slide 2.
So 3 people die from brain hemorrhages, and they push it back a few months, send it to the advisory panel.
I'm pretty sure they're called brain hemorrhages, not their brains exploding.
Anyway, 3 people died, but they say, no, it's good. That's what's going on here. There's a concerted effort to approve these drugs for more and more indications. People are dying, and they're still talking about it as a wonder drug. I'm just a little confused. Like, why such a big push for this thing? It just seems like it smells really bad. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know how 3 people could die from brain hemorrhages and all of these positive comments and unanimous approval from the FDA board. No, that doesn't like smell bad to you guys at all.
I mean, it sounds terrible and doesn't make any sense, but I'm not qualified to judge whether it does or whether it doesn't. Like, I mean, common sense, what you're describing sounds dumb, but I don't know, stock's up, so clearly.
And this is the kind of narrative, like what One Hold just said. I just read like a million statements like this in news articles about it. Brain swelling is a normal issue with these classes of drugs. Then are they?
How am I supposed to know that? I wouldn't know that, so I have no idea. So I just ignore it altogether.
I don't know, man.
I don't know anything about brain hemorrhages.
When this party ends,
oh, is it going to end badly as opposed to all those other things that end greatly?
Parabolic uptrends like this, when they hit the exits, you don't want anything to do with this.
And then what about Novo? What about Novo? Right, because both of them. No.
Yeah. No. Listen, I don't really think about these stocks anymore.
But what I'm saying is, like, you're talking Lilly specific, but Novo and Lilly keep moving together.
The same thing. Yeah, because they're both selling the wonder drugs. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
this was
if it's one particular company getting approved with the thing that makes people's heads explode and the whole thing, then what's up with the Novo? How come it keeps moving up together with it?
They're working on similar drugs, right? So good news for one is good news for the other. But this was news specific to Lilly. Am I breaking up?
No, you're good.
No, you're okay.
Okay, so that's Lilly. Still think it goes to 930. What about Apple?
Any takeaways from the WWDC, Spencer? Any headlines that you could read for the people?
Like my own personal takeaway was like, that's it. You know, like there was nothing super like duper groundbreaking out of yesterday. A lot of like incremental things. Yeah, it's a big deal that they're partnering with ChatGPT, and it's going to be in Siri on your phone, and you can ask it to do more things. But it kind of, I mean, the market clearly was underwhelmed, and I sort of felt that I wasn't watching, but I was following along like live blogs or whatever, and just with the headlines. So I was seeing the headlines as they came in, and I kept waiting for like the big one. And I don't really even know what the big one would have been.
Do they need a big one, Spencer? Like your takeaway from that is, I'm going to have to get a new iPhone. Didn't they just win? They were trying to do.
Probably, right?
Sure.
Apple doesn't need to break ground. They just need to keep you on their phone forever. That's what they're trying to do here.
You know what? Thank you, Dawson. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for Apple to say they're doing their own large language model, and they are just getting in bed with ChatGPT to do that sort of thing. So, yeah.
So they don't want to be in this race. What does that tell you if they don't want to be in this race? I don't know.
If anybody could buy their way into the race, it's Apple. So,
I was going to say, maybe they don't need to, and they could just buy their way in. Yeah.
They just buy the winner once it's clear.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
So Elon Musk like lost his shit.
How much cash does Apple have? Isn't Apple's cash like more than like almost every other company? How much cash does Apple have?
It's been as high as like 200.
So much.
It's absurd.
Hundreds of billions.
Apple has $73 billion as of the end of last year.
That's probably just cash. If you include like short-term notes and stuff, it's probably closer to 150, 200.
Got it. Like cash equivalents.
Cash and cash equivs, you know. Should be close.
You know who I would be.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money. sloshing around there.
You know who today might suck for? Yesterday too. I pay for a password manager, 1Password. It's like $30 a year, right? It's like $2 a month, whatever.
Say
Apple
PayPal.
just came out with their own password manager. I would be shitting my pants if I was 1Password right now or any of the other ones.
Little
LastPass.
apps like that are just waiting to get destroyed by the big boys.
Yeah, they're not publicly traded, that 1Password
No,
thing,
no,
right?
no.
It sounds like they're never going to be publicly traded.
We talked yesterday, and Spencer, you're right. Like, was it underwhelming? It wasn't enough for the market. Like, we kind of knew this would be a sell the news event. We talked about it yesterday morning. They sold the news.
Redler was saying that it always is. Is that true?
If it runs up into it, yeah, usually, right? We're up 20%.
How come it's not this time then?
What do you mean? They sold the news for one day, and now look at it. They're going to break it out here today.
Right. So
Look
it's not
at it right now. They sold the news.
To make a new high.
They sold it in a big way yesterday. The news has already been sold.
Oh, but maybe the knee jerk.
Yeah.
But now that
yes.
cooler heads have what is it?
Yeah.
Cooler heads
Prevailed.
have collected or something.
Prevailed?
Yes.
Cooler heads have prevailed.
This chart is breaking
not at all
right
back.
now. I think you could buy this breakout. PayPal stood out to me because they announced some pay stuff that apparently, I guess tramples on PayPal's territory a little bit. This stock has been so beat up for so long. Now they're taking news like that on the chin as they press on the upper bounds of this base. I like it. I like a stock that's about to break out on bad news. Love that. I think PayPal, this thing's been banged up so bad. I think this is
banged up so bad. Basin for a year. You can argue basin longer for 2 years. If you really want to get,
It's a slop base. You could draw a little one here, and I think you have a level. JC, August 2022. What does it mean to you? It was just such a good time. It was just such a great time, and I had a feeling then we would still be talking about it now. You anchor VWAPs. You can draw horizontal support and resistance. August 2022. Big month for risk assets. If you anchor the VWAP from that August 2022 peak, look at how it has put a cap on every advance since then. It's really incredible. I think you buy that VWAP recapture. You got a clear level there. PayPal.
Strazza makes a good point here where he's anchoring this VWAP to August of 22. And whether you think it's important or not, and for the record, I can't remember why it's so important. I mean, I know theoretically that was the initial thrust higher off the lows. I get it. Yeah. But just bigger picture, I don't remember it being all that important. Not the point. The bigger point is what Strazza's identifying here is that the market thinks it's important. Mm-hmm. And the market continues to reiterate how important it is. So it doesn't matter whether Strazza thinks it's important or whether JC forgot why it's important. It doesn't matter at all. The market keeps reiterating how important these levels are. And so an upside resolution through those levels is by definition going to be really important, regardless of what I think of August of 2022. You feel me, Strazza?
For almost 2 years now, we've been pulling up charts and watching them react to the August 2022 highs and remind us that that was an important line in the sand. Back then, we had an initial thrust. You call it an automatic reaction off of the lows. We basically tried to bottom, but didn't at the index level. Market internals had already bottomed about a month or two prior to that. So this was like the first momentum thrust off the lows. And then what happened was all those early bases that we got involved in early last year, right? Like the earliest primary trend reversals, we were drawing lines at the August 2022 highs. That was really the breakout level. So I love that it's,
and this one never got above it.
Oh,
and we were buying the ones that did, if you recall.
Oof. Yeah, it's been a tough ride for PayPal, but I think maybe the downtrend is behind us now. We'll see.
Just bigger picture for someone ignorant like me who doesn't know why PayPal is down 80%. Is there an underlying reason, or is it just that people don't use it?
Well, JC, you're gonna love the answer. They say the blockchain solves PayPal's problems so well that we don't even need PayPal. So I think they're getting encroached on by the Apples of the world, right? The mega cap tech behemoths. They're getting encroached on by the credit services companies, right? So your traditional Amex, MasterCard, et cetera, Visa. And then people are saying the blockchain really kind of fixes this and we don't need them anymore. So I think they're just getting it from every angle.
Got
Wait,
it. Is this one of the
since
ones
we're
that
talking about
Kathy
PayPal,
Woods lost money on, or is she's in the other one?
I don't know.
she,
Because it looks like
I'm not
all
on
those
that
stocks that got
website.
crushed that she owns, right?
I'm not on like Kathy's arc tracking how bad she is. I don't have time for that.
No. But you know what's in. I'm just asking because this one looks like a lot of the things that she owns in her fund. So I'm just
she
wondering.
probably does. She probably does.
I don't know. At one point, JC definitely. I know Square is still in there. I don't know about PayPal.
Got it.
Bitcoin miners. I like this guy. I met this guy at a I think it was the Benzinga conference like 6 or 7 years ago. Let me check his name. So this is Cantor Fitzgerald, and this guy's doing it right. So he came out with
What guy?
updated price targets. I could find his name.
What are you talking about? Guidewire?
A sell side analyst at Cantor Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Is
What? He's talking about crypto miners?
Yeah, so he just came out with a new note, hiked the price targets on Riot, CleanSpark, and what was Cypher. So I think Cypher and Riot have like 130 to 150% upside with his new price targets, and then CleanSpark like 80%. That's how you play these names, right? You don't want a price target. You shouldn't show that. You don't want a price target 50% higher in a Bitcoin miner. Right? These stocks are either going to get absolutely destroyed or they're going to quadruple. Right? So I like his sky high price targets. I think that makes a lot of sense. And good for him coming out and doing it.
Crushed.
What?
These things are getting crushed, bro.
They're not getting crushed at all. They're just
Bitcoin miners?
Yeah. This is how they
Mara's down 9% this morning, and the market opened 13 minutes ago.
I mean,
Riot's down 8%.
Yeah. Look at Bitcoin, right? They better be down a lot more than Bitcoin's down.
Just saying, these things are getting killed. Got it. So you're saying it has nothing to do with these reports and the Cantor guy. This has to do with Bitcoin's getting hit, so these things are getting hit too.
These are levered Bitcoin vehicles.
It is what it wants to be. It's not that clean though. It is what it wants to be. We've counted how many times. Is it 3 times leverage? Is it 4 times leverage? It's not trading with it at all today. Like, you know what I mean? Like today it is, but I'm saying like some days it's not.
Apparently the halving affected some things. You could go read the Carousel Capital report if you're interested.
I'm definitely not.
Yeah. They talk all about it. They have pre-halving economics and post-halving economics, and a lovely little graphic about it.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I think they'll be okay. Listen, it all depends on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, this is the action you want to see. If you're hoping for a breakout, you needed some sort of shake or some sort of weakness to precede it. Let's see how we bounce back. But for now, this setup is kind of on hold. In fact, I would like to see
Uncle Warren keeps buying, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I guess we're buying calls in the Oxy.
I saw that. I'm not quite convinced yet. It's a little cute. It's probably gonna work, by the way.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna work. It's a little cute for me.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later and definitely on tomorrow's meeting. I don't necessarily know that there's that much of a rush to get in. If I miss it, I miss it.
Energy it doesn't, even with the move from crude yesterday, like look at these stocks. They don't look good right now. I need to see some momentum come in at these lows.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather, with volatility so low, I'm okay paying a little bit more, right? I'm okay with that. Look at me with my patience.
Yeah, like we talked about it yesterday on the show. Like, did we wait for the VWAP recapture? Did we just get in here? You could do this.
And then the target's the upper end of the range, right? So,
yeah.
You're still playing the range.
I mean, the way Sean kind of crafted the setup, we're going to get paid if we like head back to 70. We don't even need the upper bounds of the range. So I guess that works, but I don't love trading this range in Oxy. I also don't love using a laggard as our vehicle of choice, right? So if you just pull up a relative trend of Oxy relative to XLE, that thing is ugly, new multi-year lows. If you look at Chevron relative to XLE, you don't want that to be your vehicle either. If you look at ConocoPhillips relative to its peer group, that's not a really good vehicle right now either. Exxon I approve.
Why? Because it's the
Look at the relative trend. I
bigger
got
picture.
something there. It's been moving higher since like December. The 200-day is in my direction. The other three look the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds not a big leader, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at the four of the largest.
Yeah, but it's leaning hell of a lot more than the others, man. I'll tell you that much.
Right. So
Like how many American energy stocks that are not refiners look like that?
and this exercise that we just did here live is the simplest thing you could do. It'll literally take you 30 seconds, right? But when it comes time and you say, hey, I want exposure to energy. Okay. Don't just pick a vehicle. Don't just, oh, Oxy's good. Warren Buffett's buying it. Oh, Chevron. They're one of the biggest operators. We'll do that. Just pull up the relative trend. See how that stock is performing relative to its peer group and try to pick the leader. Try to pick the strongest one, right? All you're doing through that exercise is stacking the odds in your favor, right? Increasing your chances of being right on that trade. That's how we use relative strength.
Can we throw up here? Throw up. Not sure if Spencer's going to be able to put this on, but if you can put up the new slide 2 here, that'd be great. I know we mentioned it yesterday, but taking a look at that, that Southwest Airlines, that former resistance turning into support, is this one of those like not a top situations? Like, are we going to bet on this massive breakdown during a bull market, or is this such a tiny irrelevant nothing that it doesn't matter and the global market implications are irrelevant for this?
I like what you did here. Sometimes you got to zoom way out to make these ones look good.
I mean, I'm not trying to make it look good. It's just what it is. By the way, it's only a $17 billion market cap. Tiny.
I don't know, JC. It's so not for me. If you just need exposure to the airlines, sure. I guess you could do it in a responsible way.
Is this the best airline?
Yeah.
Is this the best one? No.
I think Delta is.
Delta.
Delta's probably the best.
And by best, you mean what? Biggest or best looking chart?
Like, both. I don't care how profitable an airline is. Like, the best airline to me is who gives you the best experience. I think Delta, for whatever reason, happens to be the best operator and the best customer experience. But
yeah, I was talking about the chart.
And the best for shareholders.
Well, that's why I said the best operator. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is close to a new all-time high, right?
Yeah. Hey, comment about First Solar. I was just looking into this, Phil. Let's talk about it. So, First Solar has really kind of risen to the top of the solar industry and become the clear leader. The sell side notes that have been coming out about this company just over the trailing month are aggressive. So if the things that are being said are true, I think you got to own this. So with First Solar, I don't know if we have the charts, Fonz. I know you have them somewhere. You zoom way out on it. It's perfect. It's the base that we want. You got this .com bubble base. Then you zoom way in on it. You got a massive ramp up and then just super high and tight. This nice little flag that looks like it's ready to go, right? And then you zoom out and you view it in the context of this massive structural base, and you got the flag about to print at the base breakout level. This one is so actionable. Baird this morning, superior economics of solar, technology differentiation, manufacturing advantage, strong backlog, and a growing U.S. market create a compelling investment thesis. This analyst also noted how they benefit from AI trends. So this is becoming an AI picks and shovels for solar. As AI data centers require robust power, First Solar becomes a backdoor play on the rise of AI data centers. Outperform, price target 344.
I love it. What isn't an AI play at this point?
Listen, these guys know how to tell a story. Why are you laughing?
Because this was always, I guess, the natural conclusion to the natural endpoint is that everything, everywhere is somehow an AI play.
Why are you such a skeptic? Who hurt you? Why can't you believe?
He's not a skeptic. Like, he's legitimately laughing at something that's funny. Like, it's true.
It's all right. I mean, it takes power to run these.
My bad, guys. I didn't realize that solar stocks were AI plays. My bad.
Listen, Maybe it's
They
true.
owe it to shareholders to lie to sell-side analysts about their AI future.
Can we do what we do best here, though, and just talk about the chart? JC, that's a chart.
Yeah, we're back to those former highs, and we're stuck below it. Welcome to Bitcoin.
Zoom in on that coil. You don't love it?
I see us taking, let's see, check my
You don't
math, now taking 16 years to get back to those former highs, and we just got here now. You think I'm going to buy this piece of crap because they're lying about their AI?
Yesterday's candle engulfed pretty much the entire month of trading activity. It's pretty bad.
No, you can have it. Sold to you.
JC the perma bear.
Not a perma bear. We just got back to the fucking highs for the first time ever. Now you're going to buy it? No, thank you.
I know, it's crazy. Buying stocks in the bull market. What is wrong with this guy?
You could buy it all you want. I am not going to buy something that took 16 years to get back to its former highs, and now it just got here, and now I'm going to go buy it? Like, hell no. Hell no. Can we bring in Pat? Can we talk about something important?
Oh, we got Pat back.
Let's talk
We got
about
Pat
something
back.
important. I like how Pat's coming in hot with the wag me.
Clean energy. Let's go.
How we doing?
NASDAQ Poppy, how could you compare this to GameStop? Also, ESG is dead. If you say it in our chat, you automatically get blocked and kicked out. So be careful, guys. Be careful.
Steve, I'm with you on the first solar, and it looks good. It looks good in a shorter time frame too. It's really kind of high and tight flag there.
Love you, Pat.
Dude, you guys are fucking crazy.
These are charts that chart people like.
And
Right.
listen, all the other crap has worked. So, at this point, why not?
Hey, you can get a little bit creative and be a little bit more aggressive with your entries in bull markets, and I think that's the right thing to do. Right?
All right, you go do that. You can buy all the things you want below resistance.
I mean, know the game that you're playing.
I used to do that when I was young and dumb.
If you're at Lambeau Field in January, you run the ball a lot, right? But if you're playing in freaking Metrodome or whatever, you're airing it out, baby. We're going for it.
I'm pretty sure the Metrodome doesn't exist anymore.
But it was a thing. Was that Detroit?
So Pat,
Yeah.
why are you coming in here talking wag me?
It's kind of disappointing, kind of getting rejected at that really key level there.
This is the sentiment I'm talking about.
What, in terms of the miners?
This thing got crowded last week, I
It
think.
did, yeah. So, I mean, it was shaping up real nice. It was testing that $20 level, which is also the 61.8 retracement. But looks like it's pretty clear rejection here. I think best case scenario is you retest that downtrend line, that red downtrend line there this week. But definitely looks like it's going to need more time. Looking at Bitcoin too, that's getting rejected quite a bit today. So,
yep.
We'll see. I mean, as long as it's above, call it at very worst, those March lows on Bitcoin, or I'm sorry, the May lows on Bitcoin. If it gets below there, though, ugly.
What's your favorite miner right here, right now? You had to buy one this week.
Oh man, I'd probably have to say the Mara.
Yeah, I don't hate
that's
that.
always the one showing relative strength and clear spark.
Oh, it's not. That's changed in a big way this year. Like, look at the Wolf, look at the Iren, Cypher, Clean Spark. What I like most about Mara is you do have a pretty clear path, a clean path on the upper right-hand side of the chart right now. Right, we were dancing around all the VWAPs. We were just about reclaim them all. We're failing now, but that short interest is just a lot juicier in Mara than any of the others. I like that.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's a good point too.
And Wolf looks so strong. Wolf and this Iris Energy, Iren, those look great.
What is Mara at for short interest these days?
Up there. It's meaningful.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 25% I'm seeing.
So now we do like these calculations with the miners, the people on Twitter. They're all about like calculating the net Bitcoin value.
Oh boy.
Here's the problem with that. Okay, the premium and the discount to that Bitcoin value is going to vary so wildly that you could figure it out and say, oh, look, we're trading at a big discount. It could become a bigger discount. Okay, that's simply the way they're repricing the stock. right? They're assigning it different multiples. That's all it is. So I don't. Oh, it trades at net Bitcoin. It's probably a good buy. Sun trades at 10 price to earnings. Is it a good buy? Not when it goes to 7. No.
No.
Valuation is the point I'm making. That's a valuation metric. If you're trying to calculate the net Bitcoin value of something, go tell me what the PE is of Bitcoin miners, and that's why you should buy it. Same thing.
I think it's all pretty stupid. Can you talk to me about the semiconductors? Pat, these semiconductors continue to act well.
I know. So, I was getting a little, I wouldn't call it bearish on the video there, but I expected at least a pause at that, what was it, the 423% extension there. But it just ripped right through and it's on to the next one. So I think 174 is next. I know it sounds crazy because that's like another 40% or so from here. But this thing is just, yeah, it's unstoppable. And I think semis in general, you look at SMH, that looks like it has a little bit more to go. And of course, you got Broadcom earnings on Wednesday, so that should be kind of interesting. I didn't realize that's the 9th largest company in the S&P 500.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, it's right there behind Lilly. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, some of these companies that are still mega caps, but they're not maybe in the Mag 7, they can still carry some weight here. So that'll be
Pat, I love that. And I think it has a lot more to go, semiconductors, because we showed a chart earlier. Oh, you highlighted it. Thank you, by the way, for chart of the day yesterday.
yeah.
Right. And then JC asked questions. Do you want the leaders or the laggards? Software, internet, cyber, they're all kind of laggards right now, at least tactically speaking. Semiconductors is still leadership in technology. Look at SMH. Look at Lam Research. Look at any of the semi-equipment names yesterday. AMAT, ADI, Monolithic, right? I mean, these charts look incredible. KLA 10.
Yeah.
This is the equal weight semiconductors index, XSD, just now pushing for a breakout. I think this is a new leg up for the semis. Broad-based.
Wow.
Yes,
Steve. I'm looking at it now. This
is going to go on to look like SMH, no? And then that would speak to some breadth expansion within the industry group. So I think that's what's coming.
Now, how's this one different? It's just like less NVIDIA?
And then take this one step further, right? And go back to those tops, right? So Pat.
Oh, it's equal weight, yeah.
So follow the thinking. If semiconductors are about to break out and leg up, are software, internet, and cyber going to be completing tops? Like, look at the price action from semis yesterday. And we want to bet on software completing a top?
That's a good point.
I don't think so.
They're probably not going to diverge too far away from.
Right. So, like, is one going to complete a short-term continuation pattern higher while the other one completes a short-term pattern lower? Probably not the bet you want to make. That would be betting on that divergence widening even more than it's already been.
One more chart. Slide 2, Spencer. Since we're talking about NVIDIA, we're talking about all of these. This has been a darling of this run higher, has been consolidating over the last several months. Does this resolve higher?
I think you could bucket this in with Steve's charts yesterday of the internet and software names, because I mean this was kind of looking like a top 2 for a while. I mean you drew it as a descending triangle here, but you could draw it as a head and shoulders, and this is probably going to resolve the same way as those tops were. So
yeah, that's probably right. Right, Strazza? He's probably right.
Yeah, this fails. I mean, if you have it drawn as a top, it fails. Billy Cunningham, Strazza, curious why NVIDIA vertical chart doesn't bother you the same way Lilly does. Pat, you could pretty much answer that. We talked about it this weekend on the phone. I'm not perfect. I'm not in NVIDIA. It's hard for me to buy charts that look like that. We held a special Twitter Spaces 12 months ago, May of last year, after the NVIDIA earnings report, because I was just ecstatic. It was by far the best earnings report in stock market history. I have not entered the stock. I think the same thing happens to NVIDIA that happens to Lilly. When that party ends, holy shit. Look out.
Steve, when we were talking the other day, and I was like, who is NVIDIA's real customers? Like, where is all this money coming from? And you were just like, Apple, Google. I mean, you mentioned all the big boys.
That's the companies that they're lending money to so that they can buy their chips, right? There's a little bit of shenanigans going on there, is my understanding. I want to hear about this. Let's talk about this tomorrow. I want to know about these fake earnings that they are financing for themselves. Very, very interesting.
I haven't heard this.
Oh, you don't know about the Ponzi-nomics of NVIDIA? Oh, it's on Twitter, so it must be true.
We're not going to talk about that on here. by the way.
Okay. I'm kind of curious because if you are financing other people's purchases and essentially using your own money to pay yourself, sounds Ponzi-nomics to me.
I'll tell you what the laziest take out there right now is the NVIDIA Cisco thing. If I hear one more comparison, my gosh.
Well, that's just dumb. Spencer, hit it quick and drop the link.
With you, Pat. Spencer.
Spencer, that is your cue.
Spencer.
Where are you?
Jeez.
We lost Spencer. Well, I guess on that note, check the notes, the show notes on Thursday. Strazza and I are going to be talking about the old hot corner. You know, listen, and the truth of the matter is, back in the day, Spencer just dropped the link. Back in the day, you know, we wanted to get these filings, these SEC. Spencer, are you having technical difficulties today? I guess he doesn't hear us. All right. Guys, we'll see you on Thursday. Back in the day, we used to struggle to get this data. We searched far and wide to be able to get these insider filings and transactions timely and accurate. And unfortunately, at the time, it did not exist. There are people who claim to have these transactions. There are people who tell you that these are accurate, but there were a lot of frustrations that we saw through all of these data providers. They were all wrong. So we had to make our own. And it was a real pain in the ass. I honestly wish we didn't have to. But we built our own, and it is fantastic. And Strazza and I are going to talk about it on Thursday. So click the...
I can't take no loss. I don't need no